From Oxnard, California and Dallas Cowboys Training Camp 2023, we welcome you back into Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford, alongside Haley Sutton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. As it wasn't a busy day, at least on the practice field, for the Dallas Cowboys, returning on Sunday from preseason game number 1, and then, of course, making the practice field a very quick walkthrough session on Monday. But then very quickly after practice, reports started to rain down that Zach Martin has reached a deal with the Dallas Cowboys to extend at least the payment for Zach Martin and continue to make him one of the highest paid offensive linemen in football.
Yeah, what a sigh of relief, right, for this organization. Everyone can take a breath. Zach Martin is coming back. And not only do you get back your veteran offensive lineman on that right side there, but you get back one of your leaders. And I've been talking a lot about the leadership that Zach Martin brings a lot of these veterans, especially when you've got a room that's full of a lot of young guys. It'll be really, really good to see number 70 back on the line.
It's going to be great because especially with as youthful as that offensive line is, his leadership is going to be welcome, especially on the field. What do you see as an impact with him coming back and helping the guys out around him?
I think you get your leader back, your role model back. For a lot of these guys, it's been trial and error. We've been really happy with what Josh Ball has been able to do in his place. But the reality is you can't replace a Zach Martin, at least not right now when he still feels like he's got a lot to contribute. So you get that leader back, and we talk a lot about what Stephon Gilmore does for guys like Trayvon Diggs and even Jerron Bland. Yeah. Zach Martin coming out to camp with some of these younger guys like Awesome and a couple of other guys on the line. You get that mentor back so that as they continue to learn and continue to grow, they have something tangible to look up to.
Mike McCarthy was talking about valuable reps against Jacksonville in that first preseason game. Those valuable reps are now going to translate a little bit better on the practice field as well. Outside of the offensive line, is there another position group that this really affects more so than the others?
Yeah, your quarterback. Your quarterback gets your personal protection back. We know how strong Zach Martin is on that right side, protecting whoever is back, but I know that Dak Prescott is excited to get his guy back there. And when you talk about as well the running backs, just having a little bit of solid, a little bit of continuity that we've talked about with that offensive line, it'll be good just to kind of see everything look the way we expected it to look coming into camp.
It's going to be interesting seeing that now that Zach Martin's back. Do you think Dak Prescott could maybe sprinkle in some preseason snaps?
I'm not going to speculate there,
not.
Right? I did get a chance to catch up with some of the veterans after the game. They were excited to not have to necessarily worry about being in the media spotlight. Yeah. It doesn't sound like we'll see a lot of veterans play, but who knows? You can never count anything out here during preseason.
Never count anything out. It's always a surprise. It's always a busy day, and this is a good indication in the Cowboys uniform. When we come back, though, we will continue to talk about that first preseason game. Mickey Spagnola joins the show, and we grade out how things looked at AT&T Stadium.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, is brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Go Cowboys! This segment is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
How did the play caller grade out on Saturday?
He's got work to do. I mean, he's, he had a couple things. You actually just watched it with the quarterbacks. I'm always very upfront about a call, that you'd like to have back, or, the thought process. Because, a lot of times you get in those spots, particularly situational football, there's always two calls you discuss, and so just working through the mechanics. I think the biggest thing is really just us being on the same page and what we call PCP, play caller's purpose on each call. And the quarterback group has done a really, really good job with the extra time that they've put in, and just to get that connection.
Mike McCarthy talking a little bit in third person there in that soundbite, brought to you by Sleep Number. Back here on Inside Cowboys Training Camp, Haley Sutton, Kyle Yeomans, and we're happy to be joined by Mickey Spagnola. Mickey, obviously the conversation going into that game was Mike McCarthy calling the plays for the first time since joining the Cowboys organization. How would you grade him?
Well, let's put it this way. I didn't see any delay of games, so he must have got the plays in on time. He said he outed himself on one play, used the wrong terminology. But other than that, I think what we saw was a lot of quick passes, a lot of short dump-offs to the running backs. They ran a lot of two tight end, but they did that last year. So I don't think it was like this big stretch from what they had previous been doing. So, yeah, for the first game, I thought it was seamless.
And you talked about getting on the same page. That was really one of his big things in week one, is being on the same page as his offensive staff. You can say the same thing for the offensive line. It's a lot to sort through, especially with some young guys, inexperience up front. What did you think about the offensive line and how they fared throughout the game?
I thought the longer they played, especially the first unit, the better they got. And I think what everybody needs to understand is the guy that started on that line, Awesome Richards, he was the last only guy to have played a full game last year, if you think about it, because the other guys were either on injured reserve, they were on the scout team, or Josh Ball was on the roster, but he only played 41 snaps. My guess is he almost played that many snaps yesterday. So the deal is that those guys need to play football, and they just haven't played football for a very long time. A lot of them not till the last training camp, right?
You brought up snaps as well. Mozzie Smith, a guy who got a lot of work in that game on Saturday. What did you see out of him? Was that kind of the expected thing to see our first-round draft pick?
Yeah, I think so. I think, they realize he needs to play. And he also needs to play from a conditioning standpoint, in my opinion. I thought at times he held up like a nose tackle should, right? Taking on two blocks and be able to hang in there. He still needs to get a little quicker. They've been working on that. But I think that'll come. He just needs to understand the NFL game a little bit more. You're spoiled in college, right? When you're that strong, you can get away with little technique difficulties. Here, you got to be on point. So he just needs to play.
We talked offense. We talked defense. Quickly, what did the special teams look like?
Yeah, I thought the special teams did well. You would have liked for Brandon Aubrey to hit that other extra point. But I think one of the things happened was after he hit his first couple kicks, they said, hey, the operation's got to go faster. And I think it didn't mean him, and he rushed himself on that extra point, and he missed it. You would like to see him make them all. All I know is when I watched him before the game warm up, he was hitting from 53 and 51 yards. You guys, there was a lot of pop in his leg. It's not kicking in this stupid wind out there.
The insight only Mickey Spagnola can bring here on Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford. Mickey, thanks so much. But when we come back, we'll talk more about some second-year players. Jalen Tolbert, Damone Clark off to a hot start in Oxnard. They continued it at AT&T Stadium. What's next for the second-year players?
This segment was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, official sporting goods retailer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back into Inside Cowboys Training Camp, driven by Ford in Oxnard, California, with Haley Sutton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Glad you're with us. And, well, we got a great look at Damone Clark, second-year linebacker out of LSU on Saturday. The way he flew sideline to sideline was encouraging, and it was a bit of what we've seen here on the practice field. What did you think about Damone?
I love Damone. I think he is such a competitor. And actually, before we left for the game on Friday, we had our final Girls Talk, Boys Talk podcast, and I went on about a 4-minute rant on what you can expect out of Damone Clark, not just on Saturday, but for years to come. This is a guy who loves football. He eats, sleeps, and breathes football. And actually, Scott Aguniak, one of our PR directors, was telling us a story about how even last year he was preparing for the game by watching film on the airplane when he wasn't even going to practice at training camp last year because of that neck injury. But I can't speak highly enough about his dedication to the game, his wanting to be successful out there. He makes that defense take another level up.
Those mental reps really stepping up for Damone. What did you think about Jalen Tolbert in a similar situation?
Yeah, definitely another kid that I was just like a proud mama bear of whenever he caught that touchdown, because you've seen the transition that he's gone through. You can tell how different he looks out here at practice. He's got more confidence. He's playing with a spring in his step, and that touchdown was definitely impressive. Good for him.
Yeah, first professional touchdown, preseason or regular season, for Jalen Tolbert, and he's looking for more this week in Seattle against the Seahawks on Saturday. For Haley Sutton and our entire Dallas Cowboys crew, I'm Kyle Yeomans saying so long from Oxnard, California.
Inside Cowboys Training Camp, presented by Ford, was brought to you by AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
Go Cowboys!